Bienvenidos, Ushamdid, and welcome Anne Arundel Community College learners from the CTS-131 Section 402 course for the spring 2021 semester. This is the Cisco Networking Academy's Switching, Routing, and Wireless Essentials version 7 course curriculum, or just SRWE. And in this packet tracer tutorial and activity, we're going to be taking a look at packet tracer 1.5.10, where we're going to be going to the same topology we had in activity 147, but we're going to be verifying directly connected networks. So we're going to see what that looks like here. Again, you can see we have that same dual stack server out here. We've got IPv4 and IPv6 in our network. And so we've got IPv4 on the left-hand side and IPv6 on the right-hand side. So we're going to verify the IPv4 networks, the IPv6, and then we're going to troubleshoot anything we need to. So let's pull up router 1 and router 2 here. And why don't we do this in the same order that it's got it listed in the instructions. Let me move that up a little bit higher there. And let's go ahead and take a look at router 1 first. So we'll tackle the IPv4 information. Again, it's Cisco to get into user exec mode. And from user exec mode, we use the enable command, or just EN, to get into privilege exec, and the password is class. So once we're here, let's say show IP interface brief, and we're going to exclude unassigned, right? If I was to say show IP interface brief, you can see that these interfaces don't have IP addresses, so it says unassigned. And so we're excluding or filtering out any interfaces that do not have an IP address configured. And so when we take a look at this, you'll notice they got rid of the arrows, the green and red arrows here, because again, we've got to troubleshoot things. So based on the output of this command, correct any port status problems that you see. Well, the status here, and if we were to go back to the original command we ran, it says it's administratively down. So let's get into global config with conft or configure terminal. Let's get into int gig 000 and let's say no shut. And we're going to bring that interface up. You can see we just earned ourselves 20 points there. Now let's take a look at the addressing table, and let's also confirm do show IP interface brief, and let's exclude unassigned. So gig 000, is that the right IP? It is 172.16.20.1. What about gig 001, 172.16.21.29? Those are correct. However, let's make sure the subnet mask on those is correct. And if it's a /25, it should be a 255.128. And they are, so we're good there. So it looks like both the gig 00, or I should say gig 000 and gig 001 interfaces are correct here. So now it says display the routing table by filtering to start the output at the word gateway, or to begin the output at the word gateway. So do show IP route, pipe it to begin gateway. And you can see here we start out at gateway. And so what are we missing? Let me ask you that. What usually shows up above where it says gateway of last resort? Exactly. If I was to say do show IP route, we could see that it's going to be nothing more than our legend that tells us what those letters in that far left-hand column mean. And you can see right here, it's sort of our secret decoder ring for all of the different letters that you might see over here in this left-hand column. And you can see we've got some directly connected networks, but then we also have a static default route that has been configured. So it says terms that are used to filter the output can be shortened to match text as long as it's a unique match. So gateway could be gate, and it could be GA. And GA would have the same effect. G will not, because again, we might match on something else that has a capital G, like EGP, right? Or BGP. So those are not unique. All right, so now let's say, actually, I'm sorry, we just did that. What's the default gateway, or what is that gateway of last resort for the router? Well, it's going to be out the serial 000 interface, and it is going to be to the internet, 226. I'm just checking the IPs to make sure that everything's good. 209.165.200.226. So that looks good. So we feel confident there. Let's go ahead and do some more filtering here. I'm kind of enjoying the filtering that they're showing you here. So we're going to say show interface, and that's what show interfaces would typically show, right? A lot of output there. Well, we want to say include, and we're going to pick two things. I'm going to either include the description of DESC or CONN. So I'm going to get the connected, like the CONN, right? Because we did lowercase, or the DESC description, right? So here's the description connection up, and then it's showing us the status of the interface. And so what is the circuit ID displayed for the output? Well, it's BCB 12345 and then trip 0 and 1. So display specific interface information for gig 000 by filtering on duplex. So we would say show interface gigabit Ethernet 000, and that's what we would see. If I filter it down, we want to, by filtering for duplex. And so let's include duplex. So we're full duplex, 100 megabits a second, and it's an RJ45. And that gives us all our information there. So now let's verify connectivity. PC1 and PC2 should be able to ping each other and the dual stack web server out there. So let's pull PC1 down here, and let's take a quick look. From a desktop perspective, let's see if we've got everything okay here. 172.16.2010 and PC1, that is correct. The net mask, subnet mask is correct, and the gateway is correct. And so if that's all correct, I should be able to come here and let's ping our default gateway first, 172.16.20.1, and that works. And so now we're going to go ahead and ping that dual stack server of 64.100.1.10. And again, we're probably ARPing here. So the first packet times out, and then we've got connectivity. Let's take a look at PC2. I'm a little concerned. We've only got 20 percentage points here, and it doesn't seem like much more is going to be wrong on this side. 172.16.20.138. That's right. The subnet mask is correct. The default gateway is correct. And so let's close that out. Whoops. Let's close that out. And let's get our command prompt up here. And can we ping 172.16.20.129? That's our default gateway. And so we've got connectivity there. Can I get all the way out to that dual stack server, 64.100.1.10? And take a look at that. Everything checks out on the IPv4 side of the house. So we're going to come down here to IPv6. And again, we're only at 20%. And we did everything it asked us to do. So we'll see what happens here on the IPv6 side of the house. So let's get router 2 up. And let's come over here and let's say for the user exec password, it was Cisco, and the enable password or the privilege exec password is class. And let's say show IPv6 interface brief. Now, you can see here that we have the link local, looks to be configured not on the serial interface, and that's okay. And then we've got our global unicast addresses here on the IPv6 side of the house. So let's go up to the addressing table real quick on router 2, and let's vet that. Is gig 000 2001 DB8 code :12::1? That's correct. Is it 13 2001 DB8? Aha, so we see a little issue here with gig 001 where after CODE it should be :13::1, and it's not. This interface down here is correct, and again, FE80::2 should be our link local, and it is not the link local address. So we're going to sort those two addressing mistakes out. So let's get into global config. Let's go into interface gigabit Ethernet 001, and we're going to sort this out. So IPv6 address is going to be 2001:DB8:C0DE:13::1/64. Now, We should get 20% for this. So I'm thinking we're going to go to 40. Actually, they gave us 40% for that. Now, here's something we don't want to forget. If I say do show run, what do you notice about gig 001? We got 40%, but what's the problem now? Yeah, we've got two IP addresses, two IPv6 addresses in there. So we want to say no IPv6 address and get rid of that bogus DB8 CODE 14 1/64, because with IPv6, unlike IPv4, where with IPv4, if I just keep putting in IP addresses, it just overwrites the IP address. With IPv6, we can have multiple IPv6 addresses on a single interface. So I need to remove the address that I'm not using. So do show IPv6 interface brief. And we can see here gig 001 and take a look at that right there. Right, looks much better with only a single IPv6 address. And so we're happy with that. So the other thing we wanted to fix was interface serial 011. And we wanted to go ahead and say IPv6 address, FE80::2, link local. Now, we didn't get any points for that, which I thought was interesting. And let's rerun that do show IPv6 interface brief. But when we take a look at our configuration, all the IPs are correct. And all the global unicast IPs are direct. All of the link local addresses are now correct. And I'm just double checking here real quick, looking back and forth. Let's make sure our prefix length of 64 is the same on each of the interfaces. So 64, 64, and 64. So everything looks good there. We've got 40 points outstanding. But again, we've got to get on the PCs here to see what's going on. And they actually walked you through getting rid of the bogus address. So let's display the routing table. Do show IPv6 route. And it looks a little bit different, right? But we've got a lot of the same information. And you'll notice that that is the default route right there, the gateway of last resort on the router to go out the interface. And again, they had the, and they didn't actually trim this down, filter the output. So they wanted to do show run. And then they want us to include either IPv6 or interface. So any line that has IPv6 or interface is going to be displayed. And that's a really quick way, instead of saying do show run and kind of scrolling through, this is a much quicker way to get that information. All right, PC3 and PC4 should be able to ping each other and the dual stack. And you know what? We didn't do that over here. So let's real quickly just say ping 172.16.20.138. And it worked, right? And we expected that it would. But let's get on to PC3 here because we've got 40 outstanding points. So something has got to be wrong on the PCs here, or I skipped over something by accident. All right, let's take a look here. Let's go to our addressing table where we have our static IPv6 information is 2001 DB8 code :12::A for PC3. And I'm just double checking that. That is correct. Default gateway FE80::2. And I'm going to go ahead and change this here. We might as well. Let's just say FE80::A. And we'll set that again. That's not going to break anything. And let's test our connectivity. So can I ping? Let's do 2000. Well, actually, we'll do the default gateway, FE80::2. Can I get to my default gateway? I can. What about that dual stack server? 2001 DB8 100:1:A. And we've got connectivity out as well. So that works fantastic. Let's come on to PC4, where I'm hoping we've got some kind of a mistake here with either the default gateway or the IP address. And let's check here. So static 2001 DB8 code 13::A. It's a /64. That's correct. I'm going to go ahead and change this to FE80::A. And the link local, the default gateway address is also correct. So something else has got to be going on that we may have missed. So let's make sure I can ping my default gateway. And that works like a champ. How about can I get out to that dual stack server, 2001 DB8, DB8 colon 100 colon 1 colon colon A. And that works. And can I ping PC3, which is going to be, and let's just recall this DB8, and it's going to be CODE colon 12 colon colon A. And so PC3 and PC4 can ping each other. So we've got something going on here on router 2 that is something we probably missed. I have a feeling that whatever it was we missed was on the opposite side. Again, you can always come down here to check results. Serial 010, the address and the mask are wrong. And let's take a look at that. How can that be? So serial 010, how about a show IP interface, whoops, interface brief? 220, they are very wrong, in fact. So serial 010 should have been 225. And so I was right that it was over here where we messed up. So let's fix this up. So again, here I can say IP address 209.165.200.225, and it's a /30, meaning the first 30 bits are dedicated to the network portion of the address, meaning that only 2 bits are host bits. So 4 total IPs, only 2 of which are usable, and that is the correct IP address and subnet mask. And what I thought was interesting was we actually successfully connected to the dual stack server. And that's why I moved on, thinking we'd have a lot of points left to find on the IPv6 side of the network. And that clearly was not the case. All right, well, we are at 100%. We took a look at some great filtering commands during this activity, and those are going to save you a lot of time. And again, you'll become used to, you'll have a set in your network bag of tricks that you typically use, but those are really, really good commands right there. All right, well, that does it for the Packet Tracer activities for week number 1. And that does it for Packet Tracer activity 1.5.10, where we verified directly connected networks and made some changes. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.